Welcome back, everyone, to Vox Markets. My name is Paul Hill. I'm delighted again to be able to speak to CEO Sandy Chadha of Supreme, a leading UK brand owner, licensor, and distributor of FMCG products across vaping, sports nutrition, batteries, and lighting. So, welcome, Sandy.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning to speak to you again, Paul.
Yeah, well, big congrats on last week's positive year-end trading update with adjusted EBITDA almost doubling to £38 million on sales 44% higher at £225 million. But before we sort of quickly run through the financials, I don't suppose you could just help investors understand the sort of current demand picture in the vaping industry across your own brand, the 88 vape brand, and third-party elf bars, particularly in the context of the recent release of the government's consultation paper on the industry.
Yeah, so in terms of actually revenue, sales, and demand, it's never been as strong, and demand is still growing. The market's still growing. So yeah, what's the uncertainty? I guess is what everyone's nervous about is what's going to happen in the future. And if you look at next April, that's when we believe disposable vapes, that's single-use vapes, and only single-use vapes will be banned. So talking to retailers, they are going to pretty much run all the way to April. They're gonna run it all the way till, which is actually coincidentally our year end. So we believe that the disposable market will pretty much carry on until the death, which will be April, and then it will be replaced by a pod system. And there's various different types of pod systems out. There's ones that look just like a disposable, but are actually the tops are removable. Which it's we believe that most of the industry will transition over. There's also new devices out that carry multiple pods in them. So they call the larger sort of puff devices, where they carry 4 or 5 pods in one device, and we've seen a trend in that area. So we'll see some transition over. Well, we'll see a lot of transition over into those areas, but the TLML liquids will still carry on growing and will be in growth for many years to come. Yeah, even with the tax in October 2026 as it's planned now, we believe that people will still carry on vaping and still hopefully use 88 vape for their choice.
And with those sort of reusable, disposable, I agree. Obviously, it's early days and stuff, but the gross profit margins in percentage terms, typically, if you have a sort of razor blade model, you expect the total sales volume on a like for like maybe not going up, but you expect the profitability, the gross margin to increase because you're not selling the whole thing. You're selling basically just the reusable, refillable sides.
Exactly like you suggested on the shaving, when you sell the head and the cartridge, and we will make much more higher margins on the cartridge. And the good thing with the cartridges is that it's something we can produce and manufacture in the UK. So we're already looking into putting in production into manufacturing pods, not only for our own, but also for other companies as well. So that's something we're looking forward to. And also, there's been we've seen a larger transition, or transition is the wrong word, but a larger intake of smokers moving to nicotine pouches as well, which is really good. And this is something that you put into your gum if no one's seen them. They're literally turn DV gum, and that releases nicotine. At the moment, this is very big in Scandinavia, where a lot of vaping is sometimes forbidden. And we've seen a market now size of about $250 million now, 250 million on these pouches. And this is something that we are also launching in our brands before summer this year.
Great. Well, look forward to seeing those in the shops. In terms of the sort of cash generation, obviously you've done really well. I think you turned around to sort of like you had I think it was about sort of £3.5–4 million net debt position at the half year, and now you're in effectively a net cash position if you strip out the IFRS 16 leases. That gives you optionality. You just talk through sort of like the stock buyback and what you're thinking about doing in terms of you utilizing that cash maybe on sort of like strategic or opportunistic M&A.
So I believe the cash at the year end was around about the 10 or 11 million pound positive mark. It's forecasted, if we don't have any acquisitions or spend it anywhere, around about 37 to 40 million in cash by the end of this financial year.
That's gross cash, that will be, yeah.
Sorry, stripping out IFRS 16 for leases, of course.
Yeah.
If we look at the options that we have, there's really three alternate things that you could do with cash. One is give it back to shareholders. You can pay a dividend. You can do what we've done a small of, which is share buyback. And the third one, which is probably our most desirable, is acquire and buy businesses that have a relatively quick payback. And those are the three things that we're considering. Our preference is that we look at buying businesses, but at the same time, we won't rule out other options too.
Yeah, and I guess the M&A, where would that be? Would it be sort of in your sports nutrition, buying your own brands, or would it be buying own brands, not maybe in vaping, but in sort of like your patches? Because I think you probably covered a lot of the vaping bases with your with the number one positions you've already got.
Yes, I think the acquisitions are going to be pretty difficult with the uncertainty on some of the companies in terms of what's happening in the future.
Mm.
So we're looking at more of it's a payback within 2 years. We look at vaping, but it's probably the right time to try and diversify using that cash into industries and FMCG in the areas we're in, which are wellness. And I think there is opportunities in that area where we can buy manufacturing businesses, businesses with good brands, businesses with good distribution that we don't already enjoy today. So yeah, it will probably be diversifying away from vaping, but we wouldn't rule out vaping. But it's just going to be a lot harder with the regulations.
Yeah, sure. How's the RDC sort of like the new RDC in Trafford Park sort of operating? I know that it was built and then became fully operational probably about six to 8 months ago. Is that
Yeah,
sort of like seamlessly moved into the business?
yeah, that was last July we moved there,
Yeah.
actually. So it's nearly coming up to 1 year. It's been a dream. It's the staff that work there say it's so much easier and so much more quicker to move along. We've seen efficiencies in the operation, but also it's just been that we're a platform now ready to take on more businesses in there. So it's sort of given us that platform. That's probably the biggest benefit that we've not seen yet.
Good. And then just finally, in terms of the other divisions, how are the sort of the batteries and the lighting and the sports nutrition performing as well?
No, surprisingly, all the divisions are performing as planned, as in we forecasted and on budget. Really, we're really quite happy with all the 4 different divisions that we have. And yeah, no, I think we're in a really good place. I think Supreme. I feel really confident about the future, even with the headwinds. I mean, if you think of the headwinds, think of them as opportunities as well of sort of streamlining the industry and becoming the stronger ones, becoming really strong. And that's hopefully where we'll be.
Yeah, I mean, I think you raise a really good point there, and I would highlight to investors now that the government sort of consultation paper has been released and will be enacted over the next sort of 12 months, it will allow the good and responsible operators to flourish in this industry, and it will knock out the poor performers and the people who actually, are not actually abiding by the rules. So, yeah, I think we'll see not only a sort of like migration to the best companies, but also I think sentiment will change as well in terms of the sort of the investor, because the big picture wise is that it helps people basically get off tobacco, and that's fundamentally what the government has just put in legislation to ban tobacco. So this is one area, and if you put in patches and all the other stuff as well, I mean, you become that whole sentiment can shift. So I think you're right, exactly there. We've reached we're on an upward path for hopefully for the industry and for the best operators. Okay, great. Well, thanks for that, Sandy. And I think the next news is the full year
Yeah,
results, isn't it? Early July, I think.
yeah, that's right. With the full results early July. Yeah, no, I think we're confident of the future anyway. So.
Brilliant. Okay, well, look forward to seeing those patches on the shelves, and also maybe even trying the reusable vapes as well. So, thanks, Andy, again.
Cool. Thank you very much.